Hey, you guys. The kids are working on the dishes, and it's like our first time of almost having clear countertops today. So I'm going to allow them to continue working on this. Unless it gets too loud, then you guys just comment and say, the dishes are too loud. And then I will usher them out of the kitchen. But as of right now, I need them to work on the dishes because it's out of hand. All right, we're going to be making the, if you can probably tell, a little congested. We've got a cold going through the family, so you're probably going to hear coughing. Little Naomi might start crying because she's extra fussy. It's been a really fun week. So, you can hear it with me. Here we are. Okay, so the recipe we're making tonight is in my cookbook. The link is down below. This is an old version that's falling apart. But it's only $18.99, 230 nutrient-dense recipes. Butternut squash and white bean chili is what we're going to throw together tonight. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Jackie. So, we're going to get this rolling. We actually have a goat to bury tonight, so we're going to get dinner done and then go do that. Series of tragic events, apparently, this month for our family. So, the one thing that's not in this recipe that I already have into the pan is a whole pound of beef heart. You could use any meat you want. It's just without the addition of meat. This is a meatless soup, which is fine for some people. But for my family, they're like, where's the meat? So we're going to put some meat in there. So I have a whole pound of heart in this big pan right now. So let's get started. I got to find spots. Everything's so full. The counters are so full. I'm also going to be using coconut oil for my cooking fat tonight because I forgot to make butter. And the cream's inside the refrigerator waiting for me, and I realized I only have 1 quart of lard left in my pantry. So I'm kind of on freak out mode. So I'm going to be using coconut oil tonight, but if you have lard, bless you. You can go ahead and use it. Or tallow, goose fat, duck fat, whatever you want to use. All right, let's rearrange some things so we can get started here. I've also pre-cooked and then blended the butternut squash. So we need about 6 cups, and this is pretty close. All right, let me see if I can scoot this Instant Pot back. All right, let's do it. Alrighty, so I'm going to turn this over medium heat. Like I said, a pound of your choice of meat, whatever you want to do there. And we're going to be doing some healthy fat. So I'm going to do coconut oil. Yes, honey. You need the multi-tool? Yeah. There you are. We need 3 tablespoons of healthy fat. I'm going to add that to the pan with the heart, and then we're going to dice up an onion. I'm also going to be doubling this recipe, so for those of you who are new here, that means my family loves this and is about to pig out. And I'd like to have some sort of leftovers. So we're going to be doubling. Okay. So, first ingredient, woo, as I'm doubling it would be 2 onions. I bet you guys look at the size of this onion. It's huge. This came out of my garden this year, so I'm just going to do 1 gigantic onion. Let's find a knife. It is nice here. I think it was, well, it was a little cold because of the wind, but I think it was a high in the low 60s today, but with the wind, much colder than that. Probably felt like 40 or something out there. I just can't believe I grew an onion that huge. It's just ginormous. And I only changed one thing this year, and that is, and I had a row that I changed and a row that I didn't change. So I know that it wasn't just watering. This was Bree's idea, and I had seen it on other YouTube channels, so I didn't understand why they did it. But some gardeners will like down their walking area and like shovel it out and put that on to where they're going to plant. And so I did that this year, and that was how I got big onions. Because I had a whole row of onions with the same watering system, same everything, but they didn't get the treatment of a nice fluffy bed to grow in, and they were tiny. They were like this big. So there's a tip. In case you stink at growing onions like I do, Apparently, if you mound them up with some good fertile soil, you know, put a nice mound there, and I just use my drip irrigation and just plant them right into the top. I also started these from seed, but you know, so was the other row. It was all from seed. All right, yeah, honey, what's up? Those are gonna get dried out tonight.
Oh yeah, but what type of dehydrator out?
They'll have to go on a dehydrator sheet.
Okay.
We have pumpkin seeds because I have a lot of pumpkin, over 100 pounds of pumpkin. And so the first to load is actually in the water bath canner behind me going. Pumpkin puree. And I've got way more to go. And so we're going to, the girls rinse these and clean them, and then we're going to dehydrate them.
Yeah,
and then roast them.
For
For right now, they can sit right there, or you can take the time to spread them on the dehydrator sheet.
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, so we have an onion in here. Back to the recipe. 1 pound of your choice of meat. A really huge onion. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to slice up this jalapeno. I'm going to get a plastic bag. Just so I don't regret this entire process, we'll do a plastic bag here. This was frozen when I grabbed it out for the class, but it's quickly starting to thaw. So I'll just use a plastic bag so I don't have to touch it. There. You can leave the jalapenos in rounds if you're not feeding kids, you know, there are people who won't mind getting a whole circle of jalapeno in their soup. My kids would definitely not appreciate that. Although Naomi has a spicy mouth. She likes spicy stuff. But the rest of the kids would probably be like, I don't know about a whole slice of jalapeno. So I'm just going to kind of dice it on up without touching it. And then we're going to add it to the soup. Okay. And then it's going to go. Alright, so we're just waiting for that to come up to a simmer. Hey, starting over Homestead. Whoopsie, it's taking my comments away. Sharon, good idea. Whenever I cut pepper without protection, my skin burns. So not only does my skin burn, but then you know you're going to touch your face. Like, you just know it. You're going to touch your eyes, some sort of mucous membrane, and it's over for the next 3 hours. So another thing I did ahead of time, which it talks about in the recipe in the cookbook, is going ahead and cooking the white beans ahead of time. You could use navy beans, which is what these are, or you could use cannelli beans, but a white bean is awesome. I mean, if you want, you could use a pinto bean, but it is a white bean chili, so that's why I chose white beans. And so both the cookbook and a video up here on the channel that's for free talk about how to soak and ferment your beans so that you get more nutrition out of your beans. Okay, so you do that, and then you would go ahead and either use an Instant Pot or a slow cook process in a slow cooker to cook your beans. And so this is doubled now. 6 cups of already fermented navy beans. So when you ferment them, they expand. So like when you soak them. So in reality, this is only like 3 cups of dry beans that then get soaked and or fermented. And then we cooked them. And so this had some broth in it. And so I'm going to be reducing the broth amount in this recipe, but just so you know that that's what that's all for. And it's just waiting. You could totally set that up while you're at work and come home to a soup you can just throw together. The other thing I don't have any of right now is fresh cilantro, but I have used the dried cilantro flakes from Azure in soups with no problem. So that's my plan for tonight, is to do that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and slide you guys forward. I'm going to have to move bananas in order to do it, though. I'm telling you guys, that these countertops are full. Like behind you, I have another Instant Pot. I have 2 Instant Pots behind you. One with the beans, one with yogurt. It's going to be done at like 2 a.m. or something. And then I have the rest of the ingredients behind you. and cream that's culturing to make cultured butter. It's just really super full back there. All right. We're going to give this a good stir, and my goal is not crunchy onions because I have a husband that doesn't like crunchy onions. If you have a husband that loves crunchy onions, well, then you don't have to cook as long as I do. But my husband does not like crunchy onions. So, I'm going to get you guys like really close so you guys can actually see. This is kind of silly. There's a cutting board. Thanks for washing my dishes. Okay, you can kind of see there. This is a really deep pot, so it doesn't help. But when we're making a big batch of soup, you need a nice deep pot. So again, just in case you're new jumping on, 1 pound of your choice of meat. I chose beef heart. Heart is actually super good ground up and then like put into chilies. There's just something about it served with like a whole bunch of beans. It's just really good. So we're frying that up, and then we've got a really huge yellow onion that was chopped up that we're trying to get cooked. And then I had a really big jalapeno. If you don't have kids, or maybe your family likes spice, put more jalapenos in there. I just have kids that, not happening. I also thought about using, last year I canned up some jalapenos and did pickled jalapenos. And last fall we had some recipes that were like Taco Bellish because they use pickled jalapenos in their recipes. And basically I have a whole bunch left, so I almost did that for this recipe, but I wasn't sure how it was going to taste, so I kind of took it out. Yes, Sharon, it is a great way to get the organ meats in. Because heart, you guys, it's like literally just slightly different texture than ground beef, but when you put it in a chili, you can't even tell. And it's free meat. Because like, I ground up his heart and there was like, I don't know, 4 to 5 pounds of ground meat there that people just leave at the butcher because they don't know what to do with it. So chili is a great way to use up that heart. All right, this is cooking. A few more minutes over a simmer. Excuse my coughing. It kind of stunk because I had to go from allergies. Hey, Jennifer. The squash recipes are starting now here. I can show you guys what I'm up against. So this was my version of like, I'm moving you, so hopefully you guys don't get seasick. This was my version of squash. This is, I actually texted my friend a picture of all this squash. And then I have it over here too. God. That's just nuts, right? So, anyway, this is sweet potato squash. Love these. Yes, they taste like a sweet potato, and they grow on vines, and they're amazing, yes? Oh yeah, and underneath here are butternut squash. Lots of squash. But I sent my friend a picture of this, and I said, Hobby Lobby, eat your heart out. I'm decorating. Oh, I put some on the back of the toilet, too, some pumpkins. Because I didn't know what else to do with them. I'm starting to run out of space. So, I have been trying to find people locally who want pie pumpkins. That will can, because literally if I kept all those pumpkins, there's like 45 of them. And I did the math, and I was like, if I keep all of these pie pumpkins, I'm literally going to have like over 200 pints of pumpkin. Like, that puts me into the category of, like the grandma that saw his pumpkin from like 15 years ago and shows up to every Thanksgiving with pumpkin. I'm grabbing those squashes, sweet potato squashes. So this is a new variety I grew, Jackie. And they're this color where the acorn squash is green. And these are so good. Like, highly recommend growing them wherever you are, because we're up north and we grew them. These, they taste like a sweet potato. No, not a yam. Okay, now not the orange yam, but sweet potatoes, the golden sweet potatoes. That's what they taste like. And the inside is golden, just like a sweet potato. And you bake them. And if you bake them until they are nice and soft, the texture is like a whipped potato. Super good. So anyway, they kind of vary. Like this one was on the vine a little longer, so it's like a little longer and like more pointy. But anyway, these are delicious. This is my new favorite squash above all other squashes. And when you put some butter and some salt on these, oh, so good.
Mama,
What's up, dude? I'm not sure. Look around the living room. It was a really, really good pumpkin and squash season, which I'm not complaining. We actually received so much rain that the pumpkins have, I guess it's called edema. I don't know. Anyway, and it's from it's from too much rain in the fall, and so those pumpkins aren't going to store all winter. Otherwise, I just store them all winter, you know, and just can all winter, but they are not going to store. Because there's only like a handful that don't have anything. And so I was like, well, canning community, who wants pumpkins? Because I've got canning pumpkins. Nice pie pumpkins for everyone's Thanksgiving. And I thought, well, I could do the hard work and like can it up and give it away as gifts for Thanksgiving, but I don't know that anyone else who gives gifts for Thanksgiving, so that's kind of weird. And pumpkin for Christmas is a little odd, so I'm just going to have to find homes for it. This is almost done. We're going to go to the next step, I promise. So, as I already said, I've already cooked and then pureed down a butternut squash. And it was a kind of a large one. It's probably, I don't know, a good 12-ish inches long, you know, around. And I just baked it and then, you know, took it out and pureed it. Because you want around 6 cups of already pureed butternut squash. Which I was in the cooking squash down mode anyway today, so it worked out just fine. This is almost soft enough for my husband. How's it going outside? Good? Okay. Everyone's been down with this cold. With our family, usually it's like one person gets it, and then like halfway through their illness, the next person. So if we get sick, we're sick for like almost the entire month. Because there's 8 of us, you know? But this time we all got it. The only person that is not suffering right now is my husband, and he told me this morning he has a sore throat. What's up?
Can you hold my cup?
Oh, I sure can. How are you feeling?
Pretty good.
Oh. Hold the line, buddy. Hold the line. William says he's feeling pretty good. I don't know. I was feeling pretty good too for a while.
It's a little bit.
Just a little bit sick?
It's a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be okay. Anyway, the sunshine, you know, it's warm enough to be outside, so the sunshine is good. It's good for healing. My entire garden is pulled, except for a small... If you guys watch the channel, I built that little cabbage hut thing that was covered in screens so that I could grow cabbages without having cabbage worms. If you guys missed that, it's in a farm update this summer, so go back and look at that. But everything's pulled except for that and the stuff that's in the greenhouse. I still have some kale left in that, essentially a screened-in porch for all my brassicas, which is like, you know, cabbages and kale, all the things that those little white demon moths like. I built a nice little screened-in porch to keep them out. The screen needs to be replaced though now because our farm cats saw the nice screened-in porch and like laid on what would be the roof. And so they're like kind of torn, and it's bad news. So my husband's talking about putting on like doors on the top next year instead of it just being like a loose screen. since that's where the cats want to nap, you know. Okay, let's add some more ingredients, shall we? So the ingredient list says 1 bunch of cilantro, but since I don't have that, I'm just going to add probably, I don't even know how much of this dried stuff, probably a good 1/4 cup of this dried cilantro. If you have fresh cilantro, it tastes better, but this will work. I have to drive like 45 minutes to go get cilantro, so I was like, well, I'll just use what I have. So there's that. Next ingredient is red bell pepper, so let me go grab that real quick. So these red bell peppers came from my garden. They're all nice and chopped, so I'm going to whack it on the floor and that way we can get some loose. There we go. So if you're doubling, it would be 2 red bell peppers. Gonna have to whack it some more. My bell peppers did so good this year. It was all the rain, to be honest, for those. Do not skip the red bell pepper in this because it's a lot of flavor. And it also gives the soup more texture. There we go. Yum. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add 1 cup of nutritional yeast. I buy mine from Azure Standard. Just bought some. And you guys, I'm not going to have an Azure haul for you. I know usually I have an Azure haul. My Azure haul happened yesterday. It was like at 9:30 in the morning. I didn't even get home until, this is 1 cup of nutritional yeast. I didn't even get home until like 1:30. Unloaded my Azure order, and then the goat needed to be rushed to the veterinarian. And so we went there, and I had a whole bunch of frozen stuff and like everything like that. So the one teenager I left home, I instructed her to just put it all away because I didn't know what time I was going to be getting back. And honestly, by the time I got back, had I left everything out, like it would have just been spoiled. So, anyway, so there will be no Azure haul for this month. I'm usually religious about that, but not this month. Alright, so 6 cups of butternut squash. I see a spatula or something in my future. Let's get it scraped out. This little blender has been working all day long with pumpkin and now butternut squash. 6 cups. Okay. I'm going to add in the broth next, which I used broth to cook this, the beans I'm going to add. And so I'm only going to be adding 4 cups of broth here because that Instant Pot had about 2.5 cups of broth. So a total of 7 cups of broth. So I'm going to add that, and then we're going to add the Instant Pot beans here. Oh, that smells so good, you guys. My husband does not like squash, but he likes this soup. Okay, so then we just have to add some spices too on top of this. So I'm going to go ahead and dump the white beans on in there. There we go. And again, that was the equivalent of 6 cups of fermented navy beans that have been cooked. Okay, so now we're starting to see what the soup's gonna look like. It's super yummy. It's very fall colored. It's very nice. Okay, so now we need to add the seasoning. So we need some cumin. We need a whole teaspoon of cumin. There we go. And 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. Just in case you're new here, I highly advise buying your spices from Azure. It's a lot cheaper. Then I just put them back into the same spice containers. Sorry, I've been missing everybody's comments. Hang on one second. Jackie says, did you try putting a bunch of chopped white onion on your heels for any respiratory issue? I did with my friend a few years ago, and he felt great after sleeping with it overnight. So, Jackie, what we usually do is a garlic salve on the bottom of the feet, and then onions, we'll do like an onion poultice for our chests, you know. This one, it was like sore throats. I had a couple of kids that had like definitely congested liver because they were fighting off ear infections. So we did garlic in the ears for that, which is what I've always done. Yeah, it's been rough week. I need some mobility to open up my chest. We are in South Dakota, Jennifer. Anyway, this soup, as soon as it comes to a boil and these red peppers are done, in other words, soft, this soup is totally done. I'm going to grab some salt. It's the only thing we did not add that should be added. The kids and I turned 40 pounds of cabbage into 4.5 gallons of sauerkraut yesterday, so we went through a lot of salt. All right, I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons just to start, and people can always salt it when it hits their plate. There we go. It's probably going to be more like a tablespoon, but anyway, I'll get a scoop out of here so you guys can see what it looks like. It's so pretty. It's coming up on the camera. Super pretty. If you wanted it thicker, you could thicken it a little bit more. But honestly, with the butternut squash, it's just that right, you know, kind of like a chowder consistency. It's super yummy. So this is just going to simmer for probably about 15 minutes. And then it's done. It's ready to eat. I've put chicken in this. I put beef heart in here. Ground beef. Even like a sausage. You know, some sort of like Italian. Maybe not Italian. Probably more like a summer sausage type. You know, those, not summer. Kielbasa. Kielbasa would be really good in here too. So, this is dinner. And we're just going to bring it to a simmer. And when it hits a simmer, I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes. And that's it. That's all it is. Isn't that fast? You guys got a tour of the squash. You guys got a tour of the messy house. So there's the sauerkraut from yesterday. Sitting away, fermenting. And if you guys need this recipe or 229 other ones, my recipe book's down in the description box down below. $18, I ship it right to you. If you ordered a cookbook in the last week, they have all shipped and should be here. They shipped like last week. They should be to you this week at some point in time. They usually come media mail. So, oh yes, the yellow stuff is nutritional yeast. It's all backwards. I know it's a live thing with YouTube. It's really annoying. So yeah, nutritional yeast. I bought the large flakes this time, but small flakes work too. It's super yummy. I also use this in my cookbook for my dairy-free nacho cheese sauce. That stuff tastes so good. I take it to potlucks for like nachos or like the top on top of potatoes or something. And people are like, this is so delicious. Does it have what's that cheese stuff in a bar? Help me out. I'm like sleep deprived. Anyway, whatever that stuff is, a processed Velveeta. Does it have Velveeta in it? No. No, it doesn't. So anyway, those are really the only 2 things I use nutritional yeast for. It kind of gives it a cheesy flavor. So anyway, yeah, that was nutritional yeast. Other than that, anyone else have any other questions? Jennifer says, I guess I knew that. I am swimming in lard and tallow and something. And if live to share. Yeah, I wish I had some lard. I might have to get a hold of, gonna have to get a hold of the guy that I buy pastured pork from. I don't have any freezer space right now for any pastured pork. Totally full, the freezers are, but I might be able to just buy some lard from him. We'll see. He only like renders it certain times of the year, and then he usually sells out. So hopefully we'll get some. So anyway, that is dinner, you guys. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. And next week there will be no live cooking class. I have been invited over to a dear friend's house, and she wants to cook me dinner. So I will not be here next week. But we had fun this week, and we'll catch up with each other in 2 weeks. You guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Crystal says, I have loved your cookbook. I have been making so many things. I love that cookbook, and the new one looks different than this one. It has all the same recipes in it. I just can't give this one up. I don't know. I just can't. You have to like start duct taping it. Because I use it every single day. And for those of you who are new here, who don't know the story behind the cookbook happened like 3 or 4 years ago. And it was literally just for my kids. But then when I had mentioned on a live cooking class that I was spending time making cookbooks for my children, people were like, I'll buy one. Can I have one? And like pretty soon the list got so long that I was like, okay, this is more serious than just like printing stuff out and putting it in a 3-ring binder for my kids. And so I went through the process of doing this cookbook and then selling the cookbook. And then what ended up happening was the reason why the new cookbook doesn't look like this one is because this one I had a publisher in Canada doing, and the price was very, very high already. It was like $32 or $34 a cookbook. And there are no pictures, you know, but what ended up happening was, and I was selling them and it was fine. I wasn't making anything really, but I was paying everything for international shipping. And then international shipping went up at the beginning of this last year. And I was like, I'm not raising the price of my cookbooks. In fact, I would love it if my cookbooks were more affordable. And so I actually had to go back and retype my entire 230 recipe cookbook and present it to a publisher here in the United States. And that's how I got the price down to only 18 bucks a piece. It's still the same cookbook. It still has all the same recipes. Yes, it looks a little bit different, but it was cheaper, and it's a way to get amazing nutrient-dense recipes that are all kid approved. Everything in this cookbook is kid approved. Taking it down from $34 to $18 was a way that I could get it in more people's hands and more parents' hands, and made it more affordable for more families. So anyway, if you don't have it, the link is down below. 18 bucks. I ship it right to you. Other than that, thank you for you guys' support. Thank you for showing up here on Tuesdays so that we can cook together. If you end up trying to make this soup and it's delicious, come back and like comment in the comments. I'd love to hear that. Hey, Crystal, I made this soup. It's awesome. Or hey, Crystal, family didn't really like it, but I did. I love the feedback. I love to hear the people are making the recipes that I make here with you guys every week. So you guys take care. I'll see you guys on the next one.